His name is Cameron, and he's gonna be jamming before he goes to sleep tonight. First the evening routine of dental hygiene, and then he'll listen in pajamas tonight. You were heading straight to bed, better watch this first instead. It's Cam in his jams. Yeah! Well, hi there. My name is Cam. I'm in my jams. So it's time for Cam and his jams. Tonight I'd like to talk about an angel is missing from heaven to hell. Ah, Dio, the first singer I was ever a fan of. From his lyrical tales of sword and sorcery, to album covers ripped straight out of a Dungeons & Dragons manual, to a voice that could shake mountains, Dio embodied an image which many an 80s-era teen strove for and idolized. Throughout the mid-70s and late 80s, Dio's voice soared across hard rock and heavy metal, playing with such bands as Rainbow and Black Sabbath, as well as his own solo career. And in 2010, at the age of 64, he died of stomach cancer, near and dear to my musical ear. But my beloved Dio was hiding something, a secret so well hidden that he only revealed it once to an interviewer, that his musical career began as a soda pop shop crooner. What? Yes, in his years following from high school, Ronald James Padavona began to play with Ronnie, Dio, and the Prophets, taking on lead vocals after performing trumpet in an earlier band and recording several singles in the early 60s, immortalizing for future generations his first true forays into the world of pop music. With the Britpop onslaught making its way through the mid-60s, Dio joined a band named the Elves, later named Elf, and recorded 3 albums of great rock blues, which have since become obscured in the shadow of his metal exploits. Listening to these different periods of his musical career, an amazing range of style and talent is revealed. And yet, until the advent of the internet, there was no way the average listener could find out about these recordings without Dio mentioning them. In a phone interview he did with a man named Evil G, I couldn't find his name, the topic of his work with Elf ended up directing the conversation to his earliest work. In response to whether it would ever be re-released, Dio stated he would bring all the recordings together and blow them up if he could. So the question becomes, why would he want that? Well, for a lot of people, the things we do in our youth become a source of embarrassment, and famous people would certainly have a lot of eyes critiquing from a distance. Dio mentions a short while later that at the time he was performing edgy music, and that he wished people would listen to those recordings nowadays with that in mind, since they had undoubtedly come up in conversation beforehand. They were probably not listened to that way, and people may have mocked him and fooled his embarrassment about them. And yet this music shows someone unafraid of change. Each decade that passed brought a new music scene, new things that were considered edgy, and he went along for the ride. It shows the importance of putting ourselves out there like that, creating without thinking about the future or worrying about it, and then moving on to achieving bigger and better things. What kind of a story is thinking about something instead of doing it? If a lesson is to be taken from Dio and the Prophets, it's better to start expressing yourself early rather than later. Get out there and express. And maybe embarrass yourself like this video. That's all for tonight. So if you would like more information on Dio and his music, I strongly recommend patavona.com. The creator of that website has taken such a passion to the early music of Ronnie James Dio, and he offers every MP3 recording that he could find of his early music for free, available to download. So I strongly suggest that. Good night. Oh, and one more thing. iTunes has an album now of several Ronnie and the Prophets recordings, but they are very bit processed and canny, tinny sounding, so I don't recommend it. Nighty-night.